Rainbow Dash sits bolt upright in her bed. She hugs herself, panting for a moment before punching the wall by her nightstand. It's less satisfying than she would like. Like the rest of her house, the wall, after all, is just made of cloud. Again. It's bad enough it's happening every night, but now I can't even take a nap. She gave a little purse with her wings and shot out of bed, leaving her twisted up blankets behind. She shook her head to try to dissolve the last dregs of sleep. The fear and horror melted away along with the feeling of burning, but the stench of smoke and rot would linger in her nostrils until she had the chance to get out and really spread her wings. She glanced at the letter on her nightstand. Exhausted though she was, she'd have plenty of time to clear her head and get some fresh air in her lungs on the flight to Canterlot. It had been almost a year since she had last seen Princess Celestia. Rainbow Dash didn't know what her monarch wanted from her, but Rainbow Dash was always ready to serve Equestria. She had to be, if she was ever going to make up for failing Ponyville so miserably. The dark thought almost drove her back into her dreams. Truth be told, if it weren't for the nightmares, she'd sleep as much as she could. Not because she was lazy or even really because she enjoyed it, like she used to. She just wasn't very happy with the way her life had turned out lately. She didn't understand it herself, but she knew she wasn't happy and she wanted just to get away from herself. She'd never admit it, but she was struggling with emotions she didn't quite know how to process. She wouldn't put a name to it herself, of course, but right now the main thing she felt was self-loathing. Trying to block out darker thoughts, she instead mused about the nightmare she had just awoken from. Thinking about her bad dreams, she realized that there was something different about this time. Usually after she was roasted alive, her friends wouldn't take long to gather around her. That's when she'd start doing much worse things to her, stuff she didn't really want to think about right now either. This time, though, maybe the dream would have ended differently. Maybe this time she would have just died and been able to join them. It would be nice to be with her friends, even if it meant being dead. But it was daydreaming, like which postponed their lives. Over the last year, she'd done her best to become a more serious pony, a more dependable pony. She often found herself wondering how Applejack or Twilight would handle the situation. Sadly, they weren't around anymore. Rainbow Dash was. So no longer did Dash slack off on her work, often taking longer hours than any other wedge pony, despite the fact there was no one in Ponyville anymore to really appreciate her effort. Privately, Dash worried that she only did this to shave off sleep for as long as possible. Every pony else worried she was working herself to death, trying to make up for one night of inanition, the one night when Ponyville needed the fastest flyer in all Equestria, and she wasn't there. Last nightmare night, when Ponyville had burned almost to the ground. But dwelling on her thoughts wouldn't help her to get to Canterlot any faster. After a quick breakfast, she stretched her wings and stepped out the front door. A black smudge spread below her, crumbling timbers poking up from the earth like broken teeth. This was all that was left from Ponyville. The grass was brittle and yellow, as far as the eye could see beyond the dark reminder of her failure. The few trees spared the flames were weak and sickly, their leaves already long gone instead of the more seasonal displays of brilliant scarlets, golds, and oranges. The pumpkins should have been being harvested around this time of year for pies, cakes, and jack-o'-lanterns. The apples, corn, and hay should have already been harvested too. It ought to have been cider season, or at least the tail end of it. But not much grew around Ponyville anymore. Any farmers that moved in to try and cultivate the land had a hard time getting anything to so much as spurt, let alone thrive. They usually ended up leaving overnight, gone without a trace. This land really didn't need a weather pony anymore, Rainbow Dash thought to herself. But how could she leave? Every pony back home had said The Dash should just move back to Cloudsdale or to Manhattan or anywhere but stay floating above a daily reminder of all she had lost. Rainbow Dash wouldn't dream of it. Partially, she knew that this was a form of penance. More than that, though, as her nightmares got worse, she needed badly to see Ponyville in the light of day. Heartbreaking as it was to see Ponyville like this, she needed to see that the fires had long since burned out, that the dreams were just that, the product of a sad little pony's mind and nothing more. It was a glorious day. Rainbow Dash knew, because she had scheduled one. She could see Canterlot glistening on the mountainside in the distance, the sun hanging pendulous over the horizon, bathing it in hues of bronze. With a sigh, Rainbow Dash spread her wings. "I guess it's time to get started,"